Hey guys, welcome back to Mountaintop 9, and in this video, I'm going to give you my top 10 vocalists of all time. And first off, I'm not going to undermine the impact of this list by rattling off too many honorable mentions. I don't want to do that because I feel like that'll dilute, the potency of this list. I want to keep it to a very tight top 10, and that means it was difficult paring it down. It was difficult putting these in the right order. I put a lot of time into it. And another thing I want to tell you right up front is this list is all about actual vocalists, people who can really sing. So you're not going to see thrash vocalists in here. You're not going to see death metal vocalists. These are guys that are, in the true sense of the word, vocalists. Guys with range, guys with emotion, guys with soul, just guys that can really get behind that microphone and belt out a good tune, good sense of melody, and really carry a song. So this list is about true cream of the crop vocalists. So let's start out right now with my number 10, and it's Joe Lynn Turner. And of course, you guys know him from his time in Rainbow, what he did with Yngwie Malmsteen, and with Deep Purple. For me, my favorite stuff from Joe Lynn Turner are the Rainbow albums, like on Straight Between the Eyes, and especially Bent Out of Shape. Man, his voice is just so soulful and passionate on songs like Desperate Heart and Street of Dreams and Stranded. I mean, we're talking powerful sense of melody, just a great vocalist. There are people that criticize someone like Joe Lynn Turner because they say that his voice, it's too AOR, too radio friendly, whatever the hell. All I know is his vocals are so damn smooth, so melodic. It's like butter melting on a nice piece of warm bread. I just eat it up. I love his vocals. And that's why I gotta have Joe Lynn Turner as my number 10. The very fact that his voice is so smooth, so melodic, that's what makes me love his vocals. Now at number 9, I've got Geddy Lee from one of my favorite bands, Rush. Whether he was shrieking to the heavens on songs like Temples of Syrinx, or then in the 80s when Rush got more of that synth sound going on and he was singing songs like Mystic Rhythms, I just love Geddy Lee's vocals. He had a great range back in the day. He was always up in that higher register and everything. But then his voice evened out and matured over the years. Like I said, I already mentioned the Power Windows album on a track like Mystic Rhythms. That song just has such a powerful emotional feeling to it. It really takes you to another place in your mind. And Geddy Lee's voice over top of that dreamlike music, it's just so atmospheric. It fits like a glove. And then on an album like Roll the Bones, there's a track on there called Bravado. And man, Geddy Lee, the way he sings the lines on that song, such powerful stuff. It really cuts right through your soul. And then on Counterparts, you got tracks like Speed of Love, where he sounds really good. I just love Geddy Lee's voice, period. Whether it's the guitar-driven stuff or the synth-driven stuff, either one. He's a great vocalist, and I'm going to put him at number 9. Now at number 8, I'm going to put Lou Gramm. The thing about Lou Gramm is I love the sense of melody. There's this really smooth feeling to his vocals, a really emotional feel to it. When you listen to that bridge section to Feels Like the First Time, that softer, more introspective part of the track, I just love the way Lou Gramm sounds on that. It's so powerful. And on a song like Waiting for a Girl Like You, it's a good example of how passionate Lou Gramm is on the vocals. He sings that song beautifully. And there's an album by Foreigner called Inside Information, Heart Turns to Stone. Such a great track. Say You Will, Face to Face. I just love the melodic, powerful voice of Lou Gramm, and that's why I'm going to put him at number 8. At number 7, I'm going to put Bruce Dickinson. First of all, Iron Maiden, just like I already said with Rush, Iron Maiden are one of my favorite bands. And Bruce Dickinson is one of the greatest heavy metal vocalists of all time. Need I say more? I mean, the guy can hit notes and he can hold them, whether he's holding something in the high range or in his mid range. Just the sustain on his vocals, the power, the projection, how he'd get on stage and just try to reach everyone in an arena. He wanted to sing to the furthest person out, all the way in the furthest seat away. He wanted you to feel the power of his vocals. He came into Iron Maiden, and with his voice, the band transformed into something more than they were. You know, I love those first two Maiden albums with Paul Di'Anno, but when Bruce came into the band, they metamorphosized into something beyond greatness. So I'm going to put Bruce Dickinson at number 7. Moving on to number 6, I'm going to put Ozzy Osbourne. First of all, his voice is so highly distinctive. You can hear Ozzy sing one damn sentence and you know it's Ozzy. He just has such a unique voice. And then over the years, he has a very great sense of melody that he brings to tracks. You know, Jake E. Lee could be rocking out, working on a riff to Now You See It, Now You Don't. But it takes Ozzy to come in there and lay down a great vocal melody over the top to lift the song up and make it what it is. Well, that's what made Ozzy so great over the years, was his sense of melody that he brought to the classic Black Sabbath songs and to his classic early solo material. That's why you've got to have Ozzy on here. And he had a great range in his early years. Even though he wasn't taking care of his voice well, he didn't know how to take care of his voice. He was chain smoking and drinking and everything else. Man, on albums like Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath and Sabotage, his range really got up there and he was hitting some high notes. So he had a great range in the early days, and then even after that, he always had that distinctive voice. All the way up through, I want to say, through Osmosis. Now, after the Osmosis album came out, anything after that, he's turned into a robot. He doesn't have his voice anymore. But, from 1970 all the way through 1996, he still had a great singing voice all the way through all those years. I know he missed shows and had bad nights here and there and whatnot, but as far as on the albums, he always sounded great through all those years. So I'm going to put Ozzy at number 6. At number 5, I'm going to put Paul Rodgers. Now, Paul Rodgers is one of the best in the business, period. Listen to his work with Bad Company, Ready for Love, Need I Say More. Listen to the soulful singing on that track. Listen to Rock Steady and tell me that doesn't get your blood pumping. And then elsewhere on that debut album, listen to a song later on in the album. It's called The Way I Choose. That is such powerful, passionate singing, man. And then, of course, there's so many other great Bad Company tracks. You've got Running with the Pack, you've got Burning Sky, and on and on. But then there's other stuff from him that I love, like with The Firm. You know that song, All the King's Horses? Beautiful song. Such potent vocals from Paul Rodgers. And then there's a band that he had called The Law. There's a song on that album by The Law called For a Little Ride, and man, is it catchy. And it's just led by those great, glorious vocals from Paul Rodgers. So yeah, man, I've got to put this guy at number 5. He's just one of my favorite voices. Coming in at number 4, I've got to put Tony Martin. His work with Black Sabbath is just brilliant. I've talked so much about it that you guys know how I feel about Tony Martin's work with Black Sabbath. The stuff he did on Headless Cross and Tear and Cross Purposes, and even Forbidden, an album that a lot of people say is bad. What the fuck do they know? Forbidden's got some brilliant tracks on it, like Kiss of Death, one of the best Black Sabbath songs of all time. The thing about Tony Martin that I really love is he just brings you into a song and just really makes you feel it. You know, when you listen to a song like Nightwing on Headless Cross, you really feel like you're brought into the world of that track, like you're wrapped up in it, you're immersed. That's how Tony Martin's voice makes you feel. Or when you're listening to Anno Mundi or the Sabbath Stones, or like I said on Kiss of Death, his voice is so enchanting and powerful and just takes you to another place deep within your mind. It's a beautiful gift to have vocal chops like that. So that's why I've got to put Tony Martin at number 4. He also had a brilliant range early on. Those notes that he hits on Headless Cross and on Tear are just mind-blowing. So yeah, I've got to put Tony Martin at number 4. Now, at number 3, I'm going to put Glenn Danzig. Just like Paul Rodgers earlier on in the list, Danzig has a bluesy delivery, okay? That's the kind of feeling that he projects, especially early on. You know, his voice just had this animalistic, unbridled power to it. When you listen to songs like Long Way Back from Hell and Devil's Plaything. And he had a nice range too. When you listen to songs like Stalker Song or Let It Be Captured on Danzig 4, you can really see what I'm talking about when I say he had a great range. So yeah, man, I'm going to put Danzig at number 3. Coming in at number 2, I'm going to put Ronnie James Dio. Just probably the greatest heavy metal singer of all time. I mean, you've got Bruce Dickinson up there, of course, and Rob Halford. You know, people like that are the kind of vocalists you think of when you think of greatest heavy metal vocalists of all time. But Ronnie James Dio, as far as heavy metal is concerned, he is number 1. His voice is just so damn powerful. It's electric, man. It just lights you up. It fills you with energy. Just think of his voice on Turn Up the Night. You know, that first song on Mob Rules. His voice just kicks your ass into submission. It puts your face right down in the dirt and says, you better get the fuck up and rock out to this shit. And then in his solo career, you know, on Holy Diver, I mean, he really kicked off his solo career with a bang. I really love the song on Holy Diver called Caught in the Middle, man. His voice is filled with so much raw emotion in that song, so much feeling at the end there, man. I love the way he sings on that track. Obviously, he did classic stuff in Rainbow, and then in Black Sabbath, and in his solo career. Ronnie was just one of a kind, and no one can replicate his voice. And I'll tell you what, I would never pay one dime to see one of those hologram things. Remember when they were trying to do like these hologram concerts of Dio? That shit is demonic. It's not real. It's like pissing on Ronnie's memory. I would never go to that. What's the point? Ronnie's gone. I'm not gonna watch some fucking projected image of him, something that's not really there, something fake. You know, I'm getting off on a little bit of a ramble, but I feel like I need to make that point because I've never talked about it in any other video. But yeah, Ronnie was a one-of-a-kind presence, a great front man, and I'm glad I got to see him the times that I did over the years in the live setting because I'd never pay one dime to see no fucking fake-ass hologram, that's for sure. He was one of the greatest, and I'm going to put Ronnie at number 2. And coming in at number 1, the only guy that can top Ronnie James Dio, and that is Steve Walsh. Man, this guy just had the most beautiful voice you've ever heard. It made you feel so much. He just imbued you with so much feeling. When you listen to him sing a song, no matter what the track is, if it was a rocking track, a progressive track, a ballad, whatever it is, his voice just reached into your soul and tugged at it. I could just name so many great Kansas songs where Steve Walsh was so important to the power of what the band were dishing out. I mean, just think of a song like Icarus, Born on Wings of Steel, the way his voice soars on that track, okay? Or a song like Relentless on Audio Visions, or the way his voice sings so powerfully on Carry On Wayward Son, and The Wall, and the rockin' tune What's on My Mind. Now I'm just naming a bunch of songs off Left Overture, but you see, I could do this on every damn album. Or his bluesy vocals. At times he would do like a bluesy type delivery on a track like Lonely Street on Song for America. Or in Streets, okay? His band Streets from the 80s, he has a track called Lonely Woman's Cry. And it's just so damn bluesy, but with that classic Steve Walsh flair. His voice, just the incredible range, the incredible power, his delivery. I could go on and on about his vocals in Kansas and in Streets. I mean, even later on an album like In the Spirit of Things, a late 80s Kansas album, you know, his voice wasn't the pure golden throat that he had earlier on, but there are songs on that like Stand Beside Me and Once in a Lifetime. He's just singing with so much heart and so much passion that you can't help but get wrapped up and immersed in the world that his vocals are creating. He's just one of the best in the business, and as far as my top 10, I'm going to put him at number 1. Now, guys, I will give a couple honorable mentions, people that just barely missed the cut on this list. Blackie Lawless could have been on here. Don Dokken could have been on here as well as Rob Halford, Lane Staley. But yeah, guys, that's my list. I hope you enjoyed it. Down in the comments section, let me know what some of your favorite singers are. If you want to make a top 10 list, leave it down there. I'd like to read it. And guess what, guys? I'll be seeing you again really, really soon.